Right, there we go. It's not moving.
It's not. Hey, do we have to introduce our names, by the way? Like, say, the camera did it or not?
Go to part of the requirements.
Unless I'm going to use, like, if you can just, like, you know, like, record the video, starts down as the names, like, their head, and it starts playing. Jay can do that if I edit it.
Does anyone actually have a YouTube account?
No.
I do.
Do you?
I have to do it.
We only need to put it up once, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. One link. That's what we need to put things in.
I think that went well last time. Don't ask, remember not to ask leading questions. Just ask really open-ended questions.
Good questions, though. Keep that flowing.
Yeah, keep them open.
Okay. Just turn off this thing.
Are you recording, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, huge ones you do.
Should we
So
not
the editing.
Yeah, we need.
Okay, I've got stopwatch here and it must go off. That's okay.
Take 3.
Good morning and thank you all for coming today. All of you have been strategically chosen via the screening process to ensure that you are appropriate candidates to take part in this focus group. You have all been chosen due to your specific interest in video games. The purpose of conducting this focus group is to find out your views and opinions on how adverts impact your gaming experience. The rules of the focus group: there is no right or wrong answers. Be honest and tell the truth. Talk one at a time. Do not dominate the discussion. Talk in any order. And listen to others. When playing your video game, does the adverts interfere with your experience in a positive way at all?
I feel it does, because before the advert you might never heard of the game, you might never heard of the company, but then once you've seen the advert, you could be interested to play it because it could be similar to another game, or it could be a different type of game that you're interested in. So I think it can impact positively.
I also agree with that. I think that it can impact positively because when you're playing a game, you might get a pop-up that refers you to a website which has got some really special offers on, similar to the ones that you've been looking at before you started playing your game. So I think it's really good in a way that it actually points you in the right direction of some special offers and promotions that are on at that time.
Okay. When playing your video game, do the adverts interfere with your experience in a negative way?
I like to say they do, yeah. Because I've played games in the past before, and it's like they pop up while I'm trying to make progress in something. Do you know what I mean? It's like I just want to get through to the end, and there's pop-ups and I can't achieve that. It just it frustrates me sometimes.
Yeah, it's either they're constantly there, which kind of interferes with your enjoyment, or they can't at strategic times, which ruin the flow of the game. So you kind of feel like it's actually just diminishing the actual game that it's on, rather than actually enhancing it.
I think adverts on video games should not be allowed at all because it is addictive. Once you have a game, then you want to play it. And then when you reach a limit where you can't play it for free, then you pay for it. And this is not good. You don't want to waste your money for just a game. On top of that, children are also really addictive. So I don't think adverts on video games should be allowed at all.
Okay. Anybody else? Can anybody give me any examples?
Flappy Birds is quite a big game that was out recently. They decided to introduce this little line at the top that just had a little advertisement, but that still interfered when I was trying to play the game. Either it was distracting or it literally did take up part of the screen that was required for me to progress. So it did frustrate me as well.
And that was just a banner, wasn't it?
It was just a single banner, but it was still to me a negative way to introduce an advertisement for a game.
Okay, any other examples?
For me, it would be Candy Crush. I played. And then there are moves, yeah, you can play. But after you're out of moves, you don't know what to do. So you'll ask your friends, otherwise you need to buy it. So I wouldn't buy it, but my friends will buy it. So I wouldn't prefer advertising.
Do adverts affect your decision-making process when choosing a video game to play?
I would say yes. I know if the game's free, it'll have a load of adverts on it. It wouldn't stop me from getting it because I prefer the free version. But if I enjoy the game to an extent where I prefer to pay for it, not to have adverts. So I would say it's probably affects my decision.
So once you pay for it, there's
no adverts. Yeah,
no
so
adverts
that's
at all.
that's a positive for me. So I'd actually go out my way to buy it to stop the adverts.
Okay.
I'm the opposite. I would, if I know the game on the free version has a lot of adverts, I would choose not to download the game, just because I'd rather not spend money on the app.
Do all free games have a high level of adverts?
Some of them do, but some of them don't. There are some where you constantly get advertising beginning, middle and end, while there are some where you only get it at certain points in the game, and so not all of them do have constant levels of advertising.
But you know when you're getting a free game, you know you're going to have a certain level of advertising. So some people don't like that. Not myself, I don't mind it, but you know some people will be put off from buying, downloading the game purely because of adverts. So.
See, it doesn't really bother me. If it's free, I really tend not to care about the advertisements because I'd rather have have advertisements than actually have to pay. Because it soon adds up, £1 here and there, it soon adds up if you're playing a lot of different games, so that's why I prefer just to go for the free game.
How many times do you think you would actually click on the advert and buy what they're trying to sell?
Sometimes, I don't know, it's not often. Maybe once a week I'd click on it and have a look at the discounts that website's providing. So maybe once a week I'll click on the advertisement, see if the discount or promotion they're offering is worthwhile.
I would say I've never ever clicked on an advert willingly to go into what they're offering. I've never seen an advert which is actually aimed specifically at me. It just seems like it's very generic. The only time I've ever clicked on it was accidental, and that would really annoy me because it take me out of the game, take me to an advert that I don't really want to see.
Do you think the adverts relate to the game that you're playing at the time?
I would say no. They just seem like they're very random, very not aimed at specific myself or the person who's playing it. So it seems very random and pointless.
Some of them are. So if you're playing a game where it's strategic, there are some of the adverts that pop up that are for strategic type of games. So it's kind of keeping along the same kind of genre of the game.
Okay. Okay, if any, what level of advertisement do you think would be acceptable on video games?
From my experience, from playing games and that, and seeing different types of advertisement, I'd have to say something, an advert that after you progress what you want to do, pops up for a short period of time, doesn't interfere with your game, that you can just let it go by before getting back into the game again.
Doesn't it, if you press on the adverts, it takes you completely away from the app?
There's different types of adverts, so ones that have duration that just say wait for 3 seconds and move on, or there are ones that you simply close, but the ones that after you progress I'm happy with.
Any other examples?
I don't mind having the banner across the top of the advertisements, as long as when you're playing the game, you don't accidentally click on it, because that's when it gets a little bit annoying when you're in the middle of throwing your Angry Bird and all of a sudden you've been directed to a different page. It's not very good, but if they kept it short and simple and made it so it didn't interfere in the game, then that'd be fine, that wouldn't be a problem.
How do we feel about children? Do you think children get affected by the amount of adverts if they're playing a game in the App Store?
children do get quite affected because the parents obviously give their children the tablets to have a game on to try and occupy them for a while. And if it comes up with loads of advertisements, then I think that the child's more likely to go back to their mum and say, oh, they want the new product or that's out at the moment. And then the more times the child sees it, the more times the child's going to nag at the parents to buy it for them. So I think that it isn't very good in that respect, where it's promoting toys and new products to the children, because they're demanding anyway without all of the nags for
So
new
it's
products.
putting pressure on
Yeah.
parents as a whole as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that adverts should be censored for some games, because some of the advertising that appears up is generic, so it's for all age, so for people, it doesn't specifically advertise to kids, so it could be like a dating app where they accidentally press on it and they could be transferred to this and they wouldn't really know what's going on, they might fill it out, you don't know what they'll do, so they could be experiencing something they shouldn't experience just yet.
So you don't think some of it is appropriate at all?
I think a lot of them can mislead them as well for what they're actually trying to advertise in the first place. So especially with children, click on something they think they get something enjoyment out of and find out it's completely something else. Also with the like payments and stuff, it's very easy for children to access new apps and through payment methods through games. So parents and that will have to go through the billing process.
And they should like strategically put down where they put the adverts. So like they would accidentally click on it and then be diverted to a page they want them to see, which would not be good for children because they should not be on a website that being influenced. And also for like normal users would be like annoyed that they're being like diverted to like a place which they didn't choose to. So it's something you can start like the placement on them as well.
Okay. Everybody happy? Well, that concludes the focus group. Thank you all for coming, and your views and opinions have been very much appreciated.
Thank you.
10 minutes 45.
That's not bad.
I think you cut his head back.
Yeah.
Oh God, wouldn't that be annoying?
Just say it again, Jen.
Yeah, just cuts me out.